Thank you very much. I'm audible at the back. Cool. Okay. So the talk is here, and we are going to talk about back to basics. This is kind of like when you started learning Python, how you learned Python, and we are going to back those days, how I started and how you started. We are just going to revise the few basics of the Python, and going to live in those moments. Okay. So here's for fun, the Zen of Python. I hope you know that. Here's about myself. So uh, I'm just a Python developer, nothing else. But apart from Python, that I'm associated with NumFocus, PyData, and Python Software Foundation. Okay, so let's go. If you need slides, you can access there after the talk. This redirect you to the GitHub link. Okay, here are the topics for the discussion, and we are going to discuss about variables, data types, then conditionals, iteration, and few tips and tricks. Apart from that, there are lots of quizzes inside this talk, so you need to answer this in person. You may use Slido, but I recommend you to use in person by raising your hand and telling the answer of these Python quizzes. Okay, let's talk about the variables. So, yep, the variables are just a name that refers to a value, or we can say that variables are container. Forget about this. Listen, variables are just like a containers, just like you put water in a cup, and just like that, variables are the containers where you can put the data values, and data values, we talk about this in a moment. So, any problem in the variables? Any questions about variables? No. Okay, all good. Data types. So in Python, we have lots of data types, but these four are very basics. Strings, integer, floats, and booleans. We have others, less dictionaries like that, but they are not this off topic. Then we have strings. Okay. Text in Python is usually represented by the strings. You can see that A is a variable, and hi, how are you is a container, so something like text. So you can put this, it's in the quotes, single quote or double quote. You can put this in this. Okay, let's start. What is the output of this given code? Anybody knows? You have not more than 30 seconds. You can tell by raising your hand. Like that. Anybody? True, right. But how? But how? Do you know? How it is true? What do you find? Good, good. Okay. Yes, it is true. And the reason is there. You can see byte 3 times on this. That's why it is true. Any questions? No. Okay, we have integers and floating points numbers. Integers are just like numbers, but floats are not like numbers. They have decimal values. Any number which have decimal in it, we call it floats. You can see the examples here. We have A, which is 7, B, which is 3.14, and when we printing the type of the A, it's called int, and when we printing the type of B, it's calling floats. Okay, it's time for quiz. Any answers? You can answer one by one, like first, then second, then third. You can answer together. Anybody? Right. Yes, it's 10.0. That's why it's float. I'm looking for people saying just like 10, but you got right. Okay, so the last one is actually string. Not people, I saw the people saying that this is an integer. No, it's a string because it's inside the quotes. That's why it's a string. We have booleans. Okay, so booleans in Python, they have just two values, then true or false. You can see there a equals to 7 and a equals to int, which is true, but a is not equals to float, which is also true because a is not 7.0 or something like that. A is just a 7 and a is strings is false. Okay. Any guesses? It's simple. Very simple, I said. Anybody else than you? like to answer? No way. We can go ahead to, here are the answers. A is int. A is not equal to float. This is also true because we don't have 7.0 in this or something like that. That's why both are true. Okay, the next is the main topic, that is conditionals. Most people get difficulty in learning conditionals. So we have three types of conditionals in Python: if, else, and elif. The first one is if statement. Okay, you can say A equals to 10 and B equals to 7. If A is less than B, then we put the ratio sign, then we have indentation, and print A is greater than B, and that's the answer. Okay. What are the main change in the conditionals than the normal statements in the Python? The changes of indentation. We use this 2 tabs, maybe 1 tab or 4 spaces or 2 spaces or 1 tab, something like that. It's depend on your environment. So we prepare for that. Be sure for that when you write the Python code. So basically the people got difficulties while writing conditional codes is just of the indentation error. I know they know what are conditionals easily because they're easy, but they get error while putting the code in the right indentation. So make sure you write good indentation. Here we have else. Else, people use this if, then elif. That's not going to work. When I was preparing these slides, I was also putting if, then elif, and that was not going to work because if you are using elif, you need to fit some parameters in it, just like if A is greater than B. But if you're using elif before else, you need to put something like that, A less than B or A greater than B. And if you put something blank like else ratio and put some, it's not going to work. If you put else, then it's going to be work. Otherwise, it's not going to work. It's a simple else statement. Okay, next we have elif. You can see. I talked a moment ago that if you needs to be A equals to 7, you can't use elif just like colon, elif, colon, and the statement. You need to use elif with some parameters in it. Okay, any questions so far? I think no. No, okay. Iterations for and while loops. Okay. While loop. Anybody would like to explain this? What is it? How it is going in this code block? Anybody interested in explaining this part of piece of code? You can take 30 seconds to explain. We have a lot of time. Anybody? Okay, I'm going to explain this. We have a variable called n, which is they have a n is a container, as a variable. It has an integer called 10. While n is less than 20, print n. I hope you know the meaning of that till print n, right? You're going to be confused in n equals to n plus 10. So what's happening here, if n is like a 10 equals to n plus 10, is adding 10 to 10 is. So it's just printing 10 ahead because 10 plus if you plus 10 is going to be 20, and if this is going to be 20, it's going to be print done. We can change the value from 20 to 30, it's going to be print 10 and 20. If we put the value while n is smaller than 20, if you put 100, it's going to print a long list ago. Any doubts? No. For loop, so it is for loop. Anybody would like to explain this? Okay, I'm going to explain this. We have a list, which is A, Florence, Paris, and London. For Florence, NA. You have some. As all of you know that Python is similar to the English language. So in English, for you can the line itself explaining its meanings like for Florence NA. It means that if Florence is present in this list, it's going to be print this. And anybody is here which can explain why we use break statements here? Yep. Right. To stop. Okay. We have a lot of time, so I can explain tips and tricks more better way. Okay. How is it? Anybody would like to explain? Hmm? The shortcut to create something like variable from the function. I think no one. Okay. Return multiple values from the functions. We have defining a function def x, returning 1, 2, and 3. So what I see, most people uses a equals to 1, b equals to 2, c equals to 3, and d equals to 4. Instead of that, you can use this a, b, c, d, x, and just print this. Shortcut. Any questions? No. Okay. Splitting single string to a list. Have you used this before? Okay. First, I want to confirm that is it correct or wrong? It's correct. Where print as the split we have the braces. Where? Where? You say just like a comma, we have shift quotes? Yep. I was looking for say. I eventually removed these quotes. I have, but I removed them. Okay, so here this is not true. I was looking to audience that if they knew that. So it's a simple way. You have to put quotes when there is a comma, and it will print a list like that. Okay. We have f strings. Have you used it f string before? How many of you are using f strings? Quite less. Okay. F string might be confusing, being mainly for the beginners, but not for the maybe like experts. Okay. So we are importing the datetime module, and we are like presenting today's date. We have printing this date, and in the end we have just print this. Any errors in this code? Is it any errors? Yes. There we have, yeah. So the example of f string. Yeah, otherwise it's correct. I know. Okay, so we have just another tips and tricks. Swapping of two numbers. We have a, which is equals to 5. We have b, which is equals to 7. So rather than doing again and again, we can just do this simple, just like we did in the previous one. I think here we did, and you can do something like that exactly in this. Okay. Okay, here's the main questions. Why Python is called Python? I think we should give mic to someone. Anybody knows? You can take the mic so the audience can.
I think it was because Guido liked the Monty Python, a sketch in particular, and so he decided to call the language Python. It's a funny joke in a funny joke.
Okay, that's right. Okay. As we have not a great time, you can see lots of tips and tricks in my GitHub. And also you can see my Twitter handle. I post almost every tips and tricks every day. Not posting from the past few days, but I have. So thank you. Uh, any questions? If you have, you
Thank
can
you,
ask on
Gaurav.
Slido or in person, or you can ask on my Twitter handle. I'll be available on there. I don't think I have any other questions.
Do you have some questions?
Not a question, just a recommendation for next year.
This would be great if you do this during the beginners workshop on Thursday.
Definitely.
So next year on Thursday you can propose this talk.
Yep.
Before or after the
I know.
beginner.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gaurav. Nice talk.
Thank you.
If there are no any question,
This is my first PyCon talk.
okay.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Gaurav.